Spider-Man, Spider-Man does whatever a spider can. Swings his way up. Shit, am I recording?
Spider-Man, Spider-Man does whatever a spider can. Spins a web any size.
Hey guys, what's up? How's everybody doing? Welcome back to another episode of Tommyrot Reviews. We're not going to do it in podcast form anymore, so get used to it. Buckle up your safety belts, motherfuckers. But anyways, welcome back. Today, we're talking Spider-Man Into the Spiderverse. Just an excellent film. I just saw it, so I thought we'd go over it. So, as if the Spider-Man universe or the Spider-Man character hasn't been rebooted enough, they decided to do it one more time, but not really in a live-action form. And it's not just one Spider-Man. There are 7 Spider people that we're introduced to in this film. So it is quite a lot to jam-pack into a movie, but it does not feel overstuffed at all. Having Miles Morales as the main character was a really smart decision, and it was a really nice change of pace. Focusing on him and his character allowed the movie to feel organic and grow on its own with the rest of the Spider people, Spider-Men. There's a couple Spider ladies in there, whatever you want to call them, the rest of the Spider-Verse to merge cohesively with the rest of the story and not feel overmashed. The movie easily could have gone off the rails with the amount of, different universes, different characters, and different elements that they were bringing into one movie, and especially an animated movie. But again, focusing on Miles and letting everybody else kind of be the supporting cast around him was a really smart decision, and it made the story flow extremely cohesively, like really cohesively. I haven't felt this strongly about an animated movie honestly since Toy Story 3 8 years ago. So this movie really took me back, and I really loved every moment of it. It was really like solid, especially for Spider-Man fans. And again, having Miles as the main character was a really smart decision. His story is very emotionally driven, and he gets hit hard in this movie, dude. He gets hit really fucking hard, and he just keeps getting back up and back up and back up, and it's really inspiring to see that in somebody else besides Peter Parker, because we know Peter Parker can do that, but to see that Miles can do it and that there's other Spider people who are willing to help him, it's just really inspiring. And I think that's the message of Spider-Man is, he can be anybody and anybody can be him. So I just really enjoyed that Miles was, again, the main focus of the movie, because his dynamic was just fun. He's half Latino, half black dude from the Bronx. He's just a cool guy, and he was like not really what you think of as Spider-Man, because Spider-Man is usually a nerd, and Peter Parker is usually portrayed as a nerd, especially in his origin story. But Miles Morales was a really cool character. He's very smooth, and then when he got his powers, it kind of went south from there. He was not as confident when he got his powers. So I really like the way they dived into that. It was kind of Spider-Man 1-esque, Spider-Man 1 with Tobey Maguire, how he was kind of awkward when he was getting his powers. I was really excited to see that his powers were comic accurate with his camouflage and his Venom Strike. Like, seeing those on screen made me nerd out hard. Nerded out super hard. That shit was amazing. I also really like the dynamic between him and his uncle, Aaron Davis. And I'm going to get into spoiler territory, but this isn't really for the movie. This is more for the character of Miles Morales. So if you don't know this already, maybe skip ahead a minute or so. But I really enjoyed the dynamic between Aaron, his uncle, and Miles. It was really fun to see that Miles actually cared about him, and they had a relationship, and the movie took time to show that relationship to you. So that was a lot of fun to see, and it made the reveal of him being the Prowler a lot more emotionally striking. So if you don't know, Miles Morales does have an uncle in the comic books. His name is Aaron Davis, and he goes by the Prowler, who is his alter ego. He's not really a villain. He's not really a hero. He usually does bad things, but in this movie in particular, he is working for the bad guy. So it's a little bit of a heavy blow, but again, very fun to see that they took the time to develop that relationship. It was more impactful that way. Okay, now to talk a little bit about the multiverse aspect of the movie. I think it was executed really well. Every different universe felt different. There was different elements to it, but they were very much the same. So Miles' universe is what's known as the Ultimate Universe in the comic books. I'm not sure exactly what Earth number that is, but that's the reason we see a little bit different characterization of the people that we usually know. So Peter Parker in his universe is blonde, which we're definitely not used to. The Green Goblin is an actual massive goblin. Something happened to Norman where he became like a mutated goblin with like huge wings and this hulking figure, and that's definitely not the goblin that we know. So things are a little bit different in his Earth. But I think that they delved into the multiverse theory and execution really well. So each one of these spider people, they come from a different Earth or a different multiverse or a different universe, and when they come into this Earth, Miles' Earth in the Ultimate Universe, things are very much the same but very much different. So they all live in New York. They all have the same kind of backstory. Some live in different time periods. Some live in the future. Some live in the past. But basically, each one of these spider people takes the place of who we know as Spider-Man, Peter Parker, in their respective universes. So Gwen Stacy is Spider-Gwen. There's a Peter Parker who is from the past, who fights Nazis, and he's Spider-Noir. There's a Peter Porker who is the Spider-Ham. So each one of these different universes has a different version of Spider-Man. So you're kind of getting the point here. And in Miles' universe, with the different villains like Doc Ock and Green Goblin and Scorpion, I think it was really fun to see different versions of those characters, because a lot of people that don't read the comics don't know that those characters exist. So it was really fun to see different portrayals of the characters than we normally know them, and I think that it just flowed really well. Again, we don't know the Ultimate Universe, and I say we generally. I'm just saying casual Marvel fans. We know of course, the initiated know the Ultimate Universe, but to the casual Marvel fan and the casual moviegoer, they won't know like the multiverse and different Earths and where these characters come from and so on and so forth. So the fact that they brought this into a film and it's killing in the box office and people are responding so well to it, and it's not overbearing with too many multiverse theories or people can't follow along to the story, that says a lot for the movie. Sony, you're killing it right now, so keep that partnership with Marvel. Just do it. And all the performances of the voice actors of the different Spider people were on point. Jake Johnson, he's from New Girl. I know him in Jurassic World, but he played a version of Peter B. Parker. I'm pretty sure it's the Parker that we know, that we kind of grew up with, from Earth 616, which is the official comic Marvel universe that all of the normal characters come from in their normal origin stories, Earth 616. And I believe that was Jake Johnson's character. His comedy and the way he speaks and the way he kind of has a nonchalant attitude was really, really it worked really well for an older, more experienced Peter Parker. I believe his character has been Spider-Man for 10 plus years, 15 plus years, something to that effect. So he's going in. No, actually, now that I think of it, it was 22 years. So he was Spider-Man for 22 years. So this guy's like in his 40s. So he's going hard. But anyways, he was great. Haley Steinfeld as Gwen Stacy as Spider-Gwen. Her voice just oozed cool the entire time. John Mulaney, I don't know, excuse me, but John Mulaney, so hilarious, and he brought the cartoonish nature that needed to be brought to Spider-Ham. So that was really, really awesome to see. Like, everybody just nailed it. Nick Cage as Spider-Noir? What? Nick Cage? He doesn't do good movies. He was stealing the Declaration of Independence the last time I saw him, but he killed it as Spider-Man Noir. It was almost perfect. We don't pick the ballroom, we just dance, or something like that. That's a really bad Nick Cage impression, but it was really funny, and I loved it. So Nick Cage killed it. And also Kamiko Glenn as Penny Parker with her robotic spider like machine that she has a connection with. I've never seen her in any comics before, so that was a new character for me. That was really, really cool. Super killed it. So she's from Orange is the New Black. She's a really, really great actress. So to see her in a role in this movie and to have her kind of be the anime character was really cool. I just think the casting was really, really stellar for this movie. Like, everybody killed it. So good on you. Kudos. Let's talk about the soundtrack for a second, because it was really, really in depth. There was a lot of not as much original score as one could be used to, and that might be my little gripe with the film, is just I like original scores in superhero movies because I'm a super nerd, but that's a very, very minor gripe, so let's just stick that behind us. But all the other choices for music in the movie were really great. Post Malone had that original song. There's a lot of hip-hop, so if you're not a hip-hop fan, I don't think you're not gonna like this movie though, because all the hip hop, it wasn't too overused like Suicide Squad was when with their intro music. The music was used in correct ways, and they did have an original score from time to time, but most of it was licensed music, like I said, by Post Malone. I knew when they started playing Biggie, I knew we were in for a treat, dog. I knew we were in for a treat. Biggie, 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 can't you see? I love you when just hypnotize me. I don't know how it goes. I just know when the beat plays, you start dancing, because that's what Biggie would have wanted. R.I.P. But the soundtrack was really, really solid. I think that if you go into this movie without the song stuck in your head, you're going to come out of it with the song stuck in your head. That Post Malone song has been stuck in my head for the past 48 hours, and I'm actually okay with it. So really cool soundtrack, really awesome integration into the movie. And that'll bring us to our last point of the movie that I kind of want to bring up, which was really, really unique, and probably the selling point of the movie for me was the animation. Some of the most unique animations I've ever seen in my entire life. The layering of like the 2D backgrounds with the 3D characters was really, really cool, and it made the action scenes just magical, honestly. The way the characters moved and the way that each character was kind of designed differently and cartooned and animated differently from each universe. Spider-Ham looked different than Spider-Man Noir. Spider-Gwen looked way different than Penny Parker. They all just had their own kind of animation style, and it didn't clash with each other. None of them clashed. I read somewhere that, some of these frames, like for a second of footage, it would take a few days for the animators to even draw. Like I said, for 1 second of footage. So they just really put time and effort into this animation, and it shines. It really does. It's the most unique animation I've ever seen. And like I said, it made the action sequences just mind-boggling. All of the colors and the way they were, the multiverse kind of collision at the end of the movie is really incredible. So I do think that it should be in the top tier for animated movies, as far as just even without the story, as far as animation, it should be in the top tier, because it's a really, really well thought out plan. And they even had ink lines. They had ink lines on the people. They had action bubbles to make it look more comic-y, and they had like cuts, like cutaways of panels. It was just really, really in depth, and it made me feel like I was in a comic. And that should be the goal of all superhero movies, is to make you feel like you're in a comic book. So they really succeeded in that. This movie was one of the most unique movies, and probably one of the best animated movies of the decade, in my opinion. Like I said, I haven't seen something that I've connected with animated in this way since Toy Story 3, Big Hero 6 maybe, but this movie for sure is my top animated movie of the 2010s, of the decade, until something comes and dethrones it. Into the Spider-Verse, wow, just a really great achievement on everybody's end. Sony Animation killed it, the studio killed it, everybody's performance. And I also did want to give credit where credit is due. Shameik Moore, he played Miles Morales in this movie, and he really made that character come to life. So Shameik Moore, please do more voice acting, because you really, really killed it. And I'm looking forward to you in a sequel, man, because really, really killed it. So that does it for my review of Into the Spider-Verse. I mean, it is a really awesome movie, regardless if you're a Spider-Man fan, if you're a cartoon fan, if you're an animation fan, if you're a comic fan, if you don't like Spider-Man and you just want to go have a good time at the movies. Like I said, it's less than 2 hours, so it's not like you're spending too much time, and it's not going to be a waste at all. I definitely recommend seeing it. Like I said, one of the best movies of the decade as far as animation goes. And really, to give it a rating, I can't go, like I said, I can't give stuff 10s, because then you can't go any higher. But I'm going to give this a solid 9.3 out of 10. That's a really amazing score. I don't think anything else is going to beat it for the rest of the year. Aquaman for sure is not going to beat it, but I just really think it's a great movie, a worthwhile movie. And if you haven't seen it, definitely go out and see it. If you have seen it, let me know what you think of the movie. Was it good? Did you not like it? Was the animation too weird for you? Let me know in the comments. I really want to know what everybody thought about this movie, because I enjoyed it. I'm going to see it a couple more times, and I can't wait to find more Easter eggs whenever I do watch it that 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th time. You get me. But be sure to follow me on Instagram, guys, at GarzandNate, or search the hashtag Talking Tommyrot. Like I said, we're going to be doing more YouTube videos. I'm going to continue to do the podcast. We're going to start having guests on in the new year, so be on the lookout. I love you guys. I appreciate you all coming out all the time, and we'll talk some Tommyrot on another date. Bye.